Happy Friday and welcome back to another Blaze Friday Q&A where I will be answering questions from real Black female founders. I am your guest host, Nefretiri McGriff, and I am the owner of Transcendent Living. And so at Transcendent Living, we cater to the therapeutic needs and the life coaching needs of those who are looking for that next level evolution. So we help women and men create the narrative that they're wanting to create, because the life that you want is waiting on you. You just have to create it. And so specifically, I make sure that I am supportive to adult daughters who are in toxic relationships with their mothers. And so a lot of times when women are, when they have these things with their mothers, whether they don't want to pick up the phone when their mom calls, or they're just exhausted after a conversation with their mom, usually you have some issues with your mom. And so I help women work through that. So enough about me. We're going to get to our first question. And our first question reads, what inspired you to start your business? Ooh, this is a good one. So what inspired me to start my business? It was actually clients that I had already been seeing for another agency. And I was leaving that agency, and they were saying, you do so much great work in the field. I don't think it should stop just because you go into another business that doesn't necessarily have this as a role for you. So I thought about it, and I'm like, they're just being nice. It is what it is. And I started to really listen to different women who were in my situation, and I kept hearing the same theme. If people are asking you a certain question, if they're constantly coming to you for advice, they're coming to you for your expertise, then there is a business in you. And so taking that concept and really starting to believe in myself, I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to take this to the streets, and make it do what it do. So that's how I ended up starting. That's what inspired me to start my business. All right. So our next question reads, is it best to go back into the 9-to-5 space to make extra income for my business? Whew, okay. So these questions, I don't know if y'all knew I was going to be on, but this is like literally something that I've had to contend with. So I will say it like this. When I started my business, it was a side hustle. I was still with my 9-to-5 because I chose to bootstrap. And if you've been following Casey, bootstrapping is where, I'm sure you know what bootstrapping is, especially if you've been following Casey, but it's where you're using your own money to start your business. And so that 9-to-5 did help me. I will say that, because my business isn't necessarily one of those types of businesses that require that much capital. So I was able to do that and still have my benefits, my health benefits, which were very important to me, still are important to me. And so there was a point in time where I decided to go full entrepreneur. And then I had to kind of backtrack and go back into the 9-to-5 space. And I had to allow myself to feel okay about that, because I felt a little bit that maybe I kind of gave up on myself too early. But there are certain circumstances that will kind of make you shift back to that, and that's okay. Just make sure, as my mentor Casey says, do not have an expensive hobby that you consider as your business. Okay, don't do that. That's not what we're doing. All right. So our next question reads, what are some ways that I can find balance when I'm responsible for every single thing in my business? Okay, again. All right, so if y'all heard my introduction, I talked about helping women who are adult children in toxic relationships with their mothers. I had to shift how I do things. So my goal is still the same, but I had to change the plan. And my focus initially was on compassion fatigue. And this speaks to compassion fatigue. I still do compassion fatigue, but that is more so with corporate agencies to make sure that they have healthy staff. But I will say, when you are responsible for every single thing in your company, that can lead to burnout, which will lead to compassion fatigue. And so make sure you stay connected with Blaze, because we have so many women that you can identify with that are going through these things. Make sure you sign up for the seminars, the virtual summits. Make sure you are signing up for those things. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with like-minded women, but also make sure that you are being compassionate with yourself. See how you talk to yourself when there's something that's not going well. And also, if you have the possibility to outsource, to hire somebody, contract with somebody, do that. Because again, going back to what my mentor Casey says, if you're doing it all, you're doing it wrong. And I know a lot of us don't have the resources to outsource a lot, but find ways that you can do that, and make sure you take care of yourself, because it all starts and ends with you. Okay. And our last question reads, I want to have close relationships with other Black women business owners, but I fall off with keeping in touch. What would you recommend to make and keep relationships? I swear all these questions are specifically for me. Okay. So, so when I started with Blaze, I met my business bestie. And you have seen her host one of these before. Her name is Nina. She's your corner coach. And from there, we saw that we had a lot in common. We saw that our personal and professional things just aligned. And so what we do is we made it intentional. We made it intentional to meet once a week. And we kept in communication. We made sure that, and so for my part, I had to make sure that, because I had been asking for this, just how you're asking, you're wanting to have a relationship with another woman who looks like you and does what you do, just in a different capacity. I asked for that and I got it. And I had to make sure that I was ready for that, because I want to honor not just my time, but her time as well. And so looking at that from a business standpoint, you have to make sure that you're showing up in your friendships how you're showing up in your business. You always want to make sure that you are compassionate, but you're empathetic as well. And so making sure that you have these open conversations with the woman that you're trying to build a bond with, and see if you're on the same path, see if there's some compatibility in your availability, all those things, but make sure you are intentional. Show up for her how you want her to show up for you. All right. I hope that was helpful. These were some great questions. I hope my perspective has helped. I've been in the Blaze community, I think, since 2020. Yeah. And it's been such an honor, such a privilege to be able to connect with different women that's across the globe, not just US, but across the globe, to be able to connect with them. And I stay in touch because I have my business bestie through Blaze, but I also make sure that I attend every now and then. I attend the Monday working session. And when I tell you there's some dope vibes in there, like the music session. Anyway, I ain't got enough time to talk about that. But I also make sure that I signed up for the newsletters. I was a part of the Blaze Intensive business session. And just being able to have that access when I know, okay, I completed this course, but I need to go back. And so having that access to go back, and then it brings back those memories that I've had. And so it helps me to stay on task, to reach out to the women that I have had connections with, and I follow them and they follow me back. So that's good too, because it's a reminder for me, like, hey, your sisters are out here. Make sure you're showing up for them. All right. So again, I am Nefretiri McGriff. I am the owner of Transcendent Living, and I make sure that I help people who are looking to show up in the world in a different place, to write their narratives, because the life that the life that you are waiting to live is waiting on you. And you can connect with me on Instagram, transcendent __ that's 2 underscores, living, transcendent _ living. And there's a link in my bio where it shows you different ways that you can see what I'm up to. Just all the things of Nefretiri and Transcendent Living. So I love y'all. I love y'all deep, and I'll see you next time.